How many of you have had a listing this year? Gotten a listing this year? Even something as simple. How many of you think it's a really well-priced, great condition home? Just 3 of you? then I need to talk to the other ones. But here's the thing. Great condition, well-priced home, that needs to be relayed to your database. You need to let them know. Because here's the thing. You never know who they know, and everyone knows someone. On all of these points, something to really keep in mind here is, how many of you know 150 people? 150 people. Everybody in here knows 150 people. I will guarantee it. How many of you have a database of 2,000 or more? Yeah, several of you have 2,000 or more. 150. Now, I know that we promised that there'd be no math in the beginning, and that's why a lot of you are here. But I'm going to go there. Now, 150 people. Let's say, do you know what the mobility rate is in Kansas City? How often people move? Okay, I've heard 3 years, 7 years. It's 5 years. It's 5 years. So 1 out of every 5 years, people are moving. So 1 out of every 5 is 20%. 20%. 20% of those 150 people are moving every year. There's 30 transactions in a 150 person database. 30. How many of you did 30 or more transactions last year? Yeah, 5, 6. So there's 30 transactions right there. Let me make it really big. Everybody, according to Dunbar's rule, knows 150 other people. Did you know that? The average attendance at a wedding or the average invite list is 250. But we're going to make our numbers small to prove a point. 150 people. So that one person that you know 150. Each one of those people know 150 other people. So how many are in your first 2 levels of your database? How many total people are there? If it's just 150. It's 22,500 people. 22,500 people in your first 2 levels of your database. So just talking to them and getting to the people they know will open you up to 22,500 people. But more importantly, what's the mobility rate again? 20%. What's 20% of 22,500? 4,500 transactions in your first 2 levels of your database. 4,500. How many of you did 4,500 transactions last year? That's in 1 year. And guess what next year happens? It starts all over again. Now, is that incredible to anybody besides me? And I know I told you there'd be no math, but that's pretty important math, is it not? How many are motivated tomorrow, Saturday, to go into the office and call some of your database? Anybody so far? So we've affected half of you. Great. So anybody else cut yourself shaving this morning? Okay, just me. Good. Okay. All right. I want to ask about for sale by owners. Give us a short synopsis on what should we do to approach for sale by. We know for sale by owners are not going to sell their house. Is that correct? We know it. So tell us what we can do to approach them and nicely tell them that you'll never sell your house.
Obviously spoke too long last time. Make it short this time, Dave. Right? Okay. When I got my real estate license 4 years ago, I had just moved to Kansas City myself, didn't know that many people. I went to work for the biggest company in town, the one that took $55,000 of my commissions the first year. And they said, print up 200 cards and send them to all the people you know. Well, A, I didn't know that many people. Number two, the second thing I didn't like about that, B, was the fact that putting a card together and sending it to people where I said, hey, I'm new in the business, I'm obviously incompetent, would you trust me with your $250,000 asset? Didn't seem like a good strategy. So for me personally, I thought the people I don't know are the ones that don't know I'm incompetent, and that's my target market. And so I went down the street and I saw a for sale by owner. It turned out to be Mary Creason. My very first cold call, 25 years in the real estate business. She was a previous agent. She said she had plenty of time that night. I said, me too. Nothing else going on. I went back that night, the next night, and the next night. We had a good time. She made me dinner. She's 75 years old, and we just had a good time together. Eventually listed her house, never did sell it. But I'll tell you what, over time, I developed a pretty reasonable script for FSBOs. It's maybe 5 pieces. You want me to share that then real quickly?
Absolutely.
It's given that for sale by owner people have done their research. If they wanted to find an agent, there are 7,000 of them in town. Better than 11,000 4 years ago. 7,000, they probably know somebody. So assume that they don't want you to be there. It's a fair assumption. And knock on the door, and the very first thing you do is say, I know if you wanted to see a real estate agent or have one, you'd already have one already. And they say, that's right, we would. I know that.
Say it again. Say it again. That's a very important opening line because it sets everything else up. So go ahead.
Yeah, basically, you know, if you wanted to have a real estate agent, you'd already have one. There's 7,000 of them in town. Okay, the first thing. Number two, acknowledge kind of what they're doing. It's like, you know what, if you're trying to sell your house and save the commission, more power to you. Tell them they're smart for doing it. But the thing is, just to let you know, there's probably about an 80% chance that you won't be able to do it. And all I do is come by to introduce myself. I wanted to give you something that might help you. Here's this home staging stuff. Have you seen this? I got this off the internet. I've done pretty extensive research. It's a 4-page guide to home staging. Your place looks great anyway, but I wanted to give this to you, see if there's anything I can do for you. Yeah, bring me a buyer. We'll pay you a commission if you bring me a buyer. Tell you what, I'd love to, and this is probably the wrong time because I'm dropping in on you, but I'd love to see your house sometime so I know what it is so that I can keep it in mind for buyers. Well, you can come in right now if you want to. Great.
Whoa. We'll edit that.
You come in, what's an opportunity? You're not going to get the listing. 2 or 3% of the people buy on the first opportunity. Buffini will tell you that. 80% of the sales are made after the 5th call. Your goal is to stay in the game. As soon as you leave there, you send them a personalized note card. I may take a photo of a home, put it on a note card. Great to meet you. You follow up. I put them in my database. I send them an item of value. I send them a card. Just sold. Just sold. Still out there? Not sold? I'm selling. So it's a reminder to them. And then the most important thing of all is follow up. Go back, because that's your differentiator. You can ask them that first time, is it okay if I just, let me get out of your hair here, you have 30 seconds. Is it okay if I come back? They all say yes. Why? They want you out of there. Okay? It's like, yeah, sure, you can come back. But the difference is you go back. And when you go back, what do you say? Hey, you know, you asked me to come back.
Exactly.
Or, you know, I promised you I'd come back. And you go back, and you go back. Stop. You can have my house. Take it. Thank you. And 80% of the for sale by owner people I call on, I end up getting the listing on. 80% of them. The closing I have at the end of this month is a referral from a for sale by owner. And in fact, I'll tell you what that guy told me. It was my little more of my 100th deal back in December. And I said, tell me what you thought of me when I came to your door. He said, you left, and I told my wife, this guy is going to sell her home. He's a prospector. He's not just selling us stuff and calling us on the phone. And he's a prospector, and he's going to sell it. Sold in 30 days. It was on the market for a different agent for a year. FSBO 3 or 4 months. And it got sold. He referred me to somebody. I closed at the end of this month, 31st. I'm hoping to find something for somebody to close on the 1st in a buying opportunity. So one FSBO, $15,000 commission. It's worth a few hours.
For sale by owners don't have a chance against this guy, do they?
Well, you're just nice. And I'm not there to try to get their business because I know they're not going to give it to me anyway. So forget that. You know, just go and give them something and follow up. Be nice. They're strangers. They don't know you don't know what you're doing. So it's okay. That's it.
That's beautiful. Beautiful.